And welcome back to the PGL Major Kraków 2017, day one. And we are headed into the latter parts of day one, Swiss group format. Of course, best of one today in the opening matches. It's legends versus challengers throughout the day. It's no different in our next matchup as we go head-to-head with a North team in search of some retribution as far as the Major is concerned. Top 8 last time out, of course, at Eleague. We have our panel members back with us once more. Natu and Moses have rejoined us. Natu, we're going to start with North in this particular matchup against Cloud9. Where would you have them right now? Are they a difficult team for you to assess?
Very much so, yeah. I mean, ever since Epicenter last year, really, it's been a roller coaster ride for them, ups and downs. You know, you had early in the year, Vegas was a good tournament for them now. Then it was a bit of a downward spiral for them. Group exits, losses against teams they should be winning on a daily basis, basically. But then, you know, they made it to the final, the Pro League finals. You know, that's something to work with, obviously. Yep. So yeah, it's really hard for me to assess because of the fact that when you look at them, you know, the puzzle that they have, they should be contending for the top, in my opinion. But then again, they used to have, I guess they kind of still do, a very, very good wide map pool. And they actually had some really good results on a lot of those maps. You know, they would comfortably go into a best of one, and they always end up in a map that they would feel super comfortable on. Until the point happened where they kept losing on each individual map against teams they should be beating. So that's then going to be really hindering their confidence, and then you know they get a little timid when it comes to the vetoes. And then if it keeps happening, your map pool shrinks, and then you know you're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah. Do you think last year after Epicenter maybe we overestimated them a little bit?
No, not necessarily, because I think the skill that they have is still there to be a much better team than they are at the moment. I think I don't want to call it complacency, but I think they really struggled to kind of adapt to individual playing styles. I thought watching them after Epicenter towards the end of the year, you kind of knew what was coming. Like on certain maps, you kind of knew how someone was going to play their position. You knew that he likes to push this zone. I mean, it became very, very obvious, not only to us on the desk, but obviously to other teams they're playing against. And the tough part is they just haven't. I think that's the big thing. They just haven't improved because yes, they're top 8 at the last major. Most of the placings since then are just about top 8. You know, getting in group stage, getting to the quarterfinals. So we just don't see really a step up. And I think one of the difficult parts of that is losing Rubino for this team. You know, they brought AZ in his place, or he stepped down and they brought AZ in. I think you're seeing a lot of the struggles of kind of replicating what he's doing, some of the forms of impact, some of the smart plays that he makes, some of the ways that he was like really an anchoring force on this team when everyone else is being aggressive on other portions of the map, and someone who's willing to take initiative on the T side when it's needed, or be that first guy in at times. So I think we're seeing the struggle of missing that kind of element to the team.
Okay, let's move on to Cloud9. If there was a team that were difficult to assess in North, you could definitely say the same about Cloud9. At one point, you've got them as a finalist out of the blue.
Yeah.
At the other end of the scale, failing to qualify for tournaments. So where do we have them right now?
Take this one away, Natu. Everyone knows my thoughts.
Jason's done this one to death.
Yeah, let's get a refreshing view.
Not sure. Is there one? Is there a refreshing view for this? I mean, it's really hard to really put words into it. I mean, having the kind of play style they do, it's a lot of fun to watch, but it has a lot of ifs and buts in it. You know, things can go south really easily if a single factor to it, which is Mr. Stewie2K doesn't really show up on the server. A lot of time that's a massive issue because he's the kind of guy who can be then, if their initial approach to the game doesn't work, he might be just making his way on a map like Hatch, just, you know, pop flashing on highway, and he'll go through a smoke, he gets the kills, and they'll swarm up a bomb site. But then again, I think Shroud and the way he's been playing recently has definitely been a catalyst for this team to be able to be playing as well as they've had, because it's good to have two guys to be putting up the numbers, but you definitely do need the backup from the others as well.
Yeah,
I think one of the big storylines about this team at the moment, obviously Stewie's always going to be a big name, but it's his progression as an in-game leader that's probably the most impressive thing this team has going for him, because now he's also starting to incorporate an ability to call slow, tactical, map control, methodical style, not just the fast pace. But the problem the problem you see in it still is that regardless of whether this team goes fast or slow, Stewie and Automatic are just the engines to the team. Like there's not other people that you're going to see. Like we're not seeing Skadoodle, you know, find some of the picks that he's known for in the past. We're not seeing Nothing or Shroud necessarily take the initiative. And yes, Skadoodle and Shroud have had a jump up in their performance, and it's been great. And you can see how dangerous this team is when you have players like that. But and this isn't a slight on Shroud. He's not going to be winning 1-on-3 clutches every tournament, right? And that's nothing to be like ashamed of. That's not a bash
Come
on
on, Jason, can knock it off now. Like we just come off the back of a weekend where the guy went versus 1v6
incredible.
3
No,
like
he
7
was-
times or
he was
something.
absolutely incredible in that event, and that was awesome to see. And you know what? I would like
Stop being a Debbie Downer right now.
You only need half of that level of performance out of him on a consistent basis to be happy. You just are not going to win one on threes.
There is no pleasing this man. There is no pleasing him.
When it comes to Cloud9 out the NACS, there it's not. It doesn't work.
No, this team is...
They've just come off the best performance of the year.
Yeah, but I mean, if history tells us anything, that it's the consistent performances between big events are going to be up and down as well, right? Like,
Sure.
They also went 7-8 at DreamHack Summer, so that's a little bit frightening. And you know, ECS Finals looks great. They won 2 best-of-1s. Now they were 2 huge opponents in those best-of-1s and very good wins, but still, you're still going to... This team hasn't done anything yet to answer those questions. They've once again given us all hope, right? And they've shown the potential to do it. It's a matter of stringing this together, not over 3 weeks, not over 2 to 3 tournaments, over the course of months. You know, being able to compete consistently.
I would accept that, but it's also about delivering at the major. Ultimately,
yes.
if they deliver now, then are you a believer again, Jason?
It's been a phenomenal build up to this, and
listen,
I'm just scared.
Listen,
I'm just scared that I'm putting too much emotion into it.
You have Skadoodle on your team. He's gone out in the group 7 times in a row in the majors.
Yes, you have that curse to get over.
Easy North American existence.
It's not easy, is it?
Yeah. One other player who I thought actually played phenomenal last weekend that I think was overshadowed by Shroud was Nothing. I thought he had a great event in terms of the impact he was putting out in the games they played in. Not just that one-on-one clutch that he wins against Guardian on Overpass, but just the consistent production from him in important situations. I thought he was great. So I mean, yeah, if you isolate ESL 1 Cologne, you probably look at this team and you say this is a team that should be getting out of groups, should be getting into the top 8, and if they're going to continue with the performance they had just the other week, then they probably will. If I'm honest.
They're made favourites right now by the majority of the community against North in this matchup. Would you agree with that?
I think this is a bit of a mixed bag. It's really hard to pinpoint.
Does it depend on which version of North turn up and which version of Cloud9 turn up? Is it that bad?
I was going to say Form of the Day has a lot to do. I feel like for North, they're their biggest enemy themselves, to be honest with you. I think Jason was really on point when it comes to losing Rubino, adding AZ in this team. Do the roles really mesh in this team well? Is a question mark to me. And, it seems a little hot-headed, these individuals sometimes. That can be a massive issue for your team. So in that sense, I feel like it's more about the Form of the Day.
Okay.
I'd put Cloud9 as favorites. But I'm not particularly super high on North as well. I know there's probably some other people who think a little bit more of North than I do. I've been pretty disappointed with them throughout the year with the lack of progression there. So just as much of a Debbie Downer on North.
All right.
But
okay.
I'd put Cloud9 as slight favorites.
You're a fair man.
Fair but harsh.
In terms of North's lineup, who do you want to see step up
in the North lineup?
Yeah.
I mean the obvious. I want to see Magisk. I'm going to be honest. I mean, the 2 big names are going to be Magis and Config, but we see we see Config, have very good games pretty frequently, and especially when he has a good game, like. It's such a good game. Like, the impact he can have on the map, especially on the T side with the way he can take map controls and individuals, sweet. But I would definitely like to see. And also, someone who's been missing, I feel, lately for this team has been Cajun. I feel like he hasn't really found his groove. I feel like there's a lot of question marks in this team. Very reminiscent of another Danish team, Astralis, on their rise, and throughout last year before they brought in Glaive. It's very similar things. Like, all the skill is there, all the roles seem to be there. It's just at this point it feels like they're so stressed out about the fact that they haven't been able to make any improvements that's actually the thing holding them back now.
No. Okay, got some fun with stats while we wait for the map vetoes to come in for you. So you'll like this one now too, I think. The most kills in one game at a major ever, not including any overtime matches, because that one is absurd. It's 52 by Nico, by the way. But just in standard regulation MR15 is 37 kills in a game, right? It's been done twice, once by Magisk and once by AZ. Both on Cobble, which, by the way, is their most played map this year.
That would have to be AZ when he was in Dignitas and Cluj-Napoca.
Correct.
Yeah, I was going to say, because that's what made him like...
That was against CLG, by the way.
Feels like
just to rub it in a bit
Thanks,
more.
Paul. Thank you for that one. No, but that was like the most heartbreaking individual performance was AZ and Dignitas. Yeah, well, they lost both maps. They got knocked out in 2 maps.
But also...
And AZ had like 60-some kills on those 2 maps.
Yeah, do you know what? Magic's, when he got the 37 against Virtus Pro at E-League, they also lost.
Yep, that was the comeback. It was like 13-2 at half, and VP makes the comeback. Yeah, they've had some heartbreakers, haven't they?
Yeah.
For me, if he feels like a player as an individual who needs to have some roaming room, like he needs to have some freedom to be able to make plays.
Like he did in Dignitas.
Yeah, more like, it's like if you put him on a leash, it seems a little clueless, I don't know. It just feels to me
so
like
maybe it is a role thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
potentially.
Okay, we've got the bans incoming. It is North that are going to ban first. They're going to get rid of Train and Inferno.
They're
And
gonna be seeing
Cloud9 are going to get rid of
Mirage.
Nuke and Overpass.
I imagine I would love to see this on Mirage because both teams really, really enjoy it as well. I think
Yep.
that'd be a pretty cool match to have come out.
Cobble's gone.
We're getting
So
there.
I
we are
think it's
getting
pretty
there.
likely for that to happen, to be honest.
So Mirage
Yeah,
or Cash. It's Mirage.
Yeah, no, neither team really likes Cash. North's had a really, really tough time with it. Famously, MSL doesn't like it, and I know they've been trying to work it into their map pool throughout this year, and it just hasn't looked good, hasn't worked. On the other hand, Cloud9's got to be happy. On Cash, they actually have a 1-5 record versus European opponents, so they obviously don't want to play that one. But yeah, Mirage, both of these teams, I mean, this is a map as well where Cloud9's well-versed in the fast-paced and the slower style we saw them bring out just last week at Cologne, and even a little bit before that at the major qualifier. But when you're comfortable on both of those and you can bust them out kind of, whenever you want, that's what really makes each one dangerous when the opposing team doesn't know the speed you're going to be going at.
Yeah, so this could be a good game now. We were talking about this whole random element of we don't know which version of North we get or which version of Cloud9 we get, but at least we've got a map where we know both of them can play and bring them in. Cloud9 looked very good on Mirage at ESL 1 Cloud9. It's only one event, but they did look good on it.
And on the other hand, I mean, North and the foundation of this lineup has been one of the few innovators on this map, coming up with strats where they'd place smoke towards a bomb site, hit the bomb site before they even landed. That was the Dignitas time of this lineup. And they were always very comfortable on it and really good at just gaining map control and having timings correct to make it super hard for the CTs to show any aggression towards that middle portion of the map. So definitely this is the one map that between these two teams that's going to make for the best show, in my opinion.
You see the players just getting their final thoughts and settings ready for this particular game. In terms of predictions then? Because I am going to make you do them for this, only because in all the other games it was fairly straightforward. But this one is not straightforward, therefore I'd love to see you squirm.
I'm going Cloud9. I'm going to go with Cloud9 on this one.
I'm shocked.
I know, you should be.
I am absolutely shocked.
It's a stunning turn of events.
After the ribbing you gave them.
It's tough love.
Okay, tough love, all right.
But no, I think this is a map where I think one thing they're very, very good on this map. Like I said, the fast and slow, but on top of that, like in conjunction with it, and they do this across all maps pretty well, but they're actually a very, very good team at like snowballing. Like when they finally break their opponent's economy, they're very good at manipulating that fact. That's one thing that's gone sneakily unnoticed, and they've also been very, very good with the utility usage lately. Like flashbangs have been on point, smokes have been good. So this is a map I feel like they can be very impactful, especially considering if you want to talk about like how you leverage attacks on this map, it all stems from mid control, and that's where like Stewie coming up on catwalk, coming up at the top of mid, automatic coming in underpass. You have your two most impactful, two initiating players in that portion of the map. That can be good stuff to create space for someone like Skadoodle, create space for someone like Nothing.
Okay, justification complete.
I'm going to actually agree with Jason here.
No, don't do that.
Just because of the fact that
please don't do that, because that's going to make it really awkward now.
Welcome to the wild ride.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh,
I know,
my
right?
goodness.
No, but it's for the fact that, like he was saying.
What have you done?
Just keep interrupting me. Please do.
No, because I knew eventually you'd be like.
No, in my opinion, the fact is that I can see MSL and North just really struggling with the fact that Cloud9 could really now be more fast-paced, be slower-paced as well, and then also be the aggressor on the CT side. And they seem to kind of, like I said, they're hotheads. They seem to kind of get tilted really super easily if things are not going their way. So. Do they manage to adjust on the fly as the game goes on? That's going to be, I think, a massive question here for them.
It is a good question as well. Maybe a question for our commentary team who are ready. I wonder if they can help me out here. Dan! Help me! Save me, Dan! Isn't that what James says?
I think you'll be on saving, but we'll do our best to break this down a bit.
These lunatics have both gone for Cloud9. What do you make of that?
I'm actually kind of with them a little bit.
Okay, well...
We've got Dan. It's all over now.
Yeah, I'm on a train as well. I mean, it is North America, but I think they are the favoured of the two teams here. They're clearly a more confident team than North, who may have some self-doubt. They know they're capable of more. They know they probably haven't reached their peak yet, but can they go there? And can they stay there? It's all good to just poke your head in the door, right? But you want to close the door behind you. You want to be in there with everybody else.
And it's funny, too, because it's a really cool matchup for us, obviously, to start the day off with. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. But for me, it's going to be about that T side of North, because I feel like that's where they'll be able to get the most edges out of what really makes them a strong team. Is that tactics, the strategy can be really phenomenal under the likes of MSL. So for me, it's whether Cloud9 can get off to that good CT start and really shut it down. I mean, do you feel the same, James? I know that you are a big fan of MSL on Mirage and what he can do with his team.
I'm a big fan of him, and I like to watch North demos. And for any of you who play CS at home, you should definitely do so, especially on maps like Mirage. There's lots of easy things to pick up and introduce. But I think there's, especially on this map, Cloud9, especially with Stewie, right? They have that fifth gear that they can turn on. Like they can, when it's time to be more aggressive and change the pace of the game and take it to you on Cloud9 CT side, they're more than capable of doing that. They're very comfortable doing it as well, and the whole team works as a unit rather than like one person taking a risk and the other see what happens. So the question is, can North deal with that? And not many teams, I think, at this point are capable of doing that themselves. And that is a very strong issue that Cloud9 can bring to other teams and a challenge as well. Because if you crumble against that pressure, then you're done.
Oh, absolutely. And the crazy thing about Cloud9 is that do you think they're going to be consistent, able to deliver consistency from what is just such a crazy transformation in some senses? Like Skadoodle, for example, is an AWPer that he was under so much criticism for so long over the last couple of years. People saying he's too predictable, he doesn't really take enough risks, he's too much of a static AWPer. And obviously, in the most recent tournaments, we've seen exactly the opposite: him clutching his face off, going very aggressive, making it look like he was born to do it. But is this something that we're going to see consistency of? Because Shroud as well, he's just going absolutely mental with the clutches. So
it's a good question, because if you go back to the Sean Gares era of Cloud9, he mentioned in previous interviews that he would always try to put Skadoodle in uncomfortable positions that he doesn't want to, he wouldn't go to naturally himself. But so people have tried to do this for the longest time. So I think it's a very good question, and only time will tell. But if, for example, we see Cloud9 play Cash in this tournament, then especially now we're at the Major, you've got the Go TV at home, you should look for Skadoodle to be standing in the middle of mid on a CT side, looking for peeks through T warehouse. And they've been doing that kind of thing for a few months. Maybe they've stepped it up to a more extreme degree now, but I mean, only time will tell us if that's going to be consistent, but it's definitely what he needs. Counter-Strike is a game where you cannot be predictable, because that will be the end of you. So if Skadoodle can permanently add this extra facet to his game, then that will be awesome for his team. But we've spoken a lot about Cloud9. North, they have been a team who have had, I wouldn't go as far as to say peaks and troughs, but the peaks have been in sight, but they haven't always reached them. But they have had some success of late, but not as much as people expect at this point, as people would like, especially with the level of organization they have behind them now at the heights that they reached in the last 6 to 9 months. So they definitely need to put their stamp on this tournament, to say the least.
Yes, it's a very interesting team from that perspective, because I think a lot of the North fans wouldn't have been disappointed to see them make a finals run, but the way that they played against G2 was an interesting situation, because that was a G2 in that tournament who are really just at their full confidence, really in the swing of things, and that is a team that's very hard to stop in that instance. And as was said on the desk, perhaps it's not the easiest for the Danes here to actually just calm themselves down in a situation like that, to deal with something that's so overpowering. But they're not going to be, they shouldn't be up against Cloud9 necessarily. But I suppose we shall let the game speak for itself when it comes to the performances of the players and where the pressure's actually really coming from.
Yeah, speaking of performances as well, and looking at in-game leaders, like dedicated in-game leaders as opposed to, okay, well, I'll in-game lead because we don't really have one. I think, MSL is one of the people who has come into criticism in the last year. I'd say far away now. He lifted his performance. He raised his performance at a point where you have mounting pressure. Well, if you're not performing, I don't know if you should be on the team. But suddenly, he's raised his performance. So it's definitely a 5-man team in terms of fragging power. So that's a great plus. And if you can do that and still control the team, then that's fantastic. So we'll see what North have to offer. It looks like North are going to be starting on the T side of the map. So for those of you in Go TV, I would definitely watch MSL on the T side, purely because, I mean, it's all good watching teams and looking at people fragging, right? And that's like the spectacle and so on. But MSL, if you watch him, then you can see how he puts his teammates in position to do that in the first place, or at least to help them get into that position, smoking off areas and flashing his teammates into places they want to take for later executes. That stuff is important in Counter-Strike, and watching MSL on the T side, you could learn a thing or two about that.
Yeah, and again, one of the factors that we haven't really brought up yet really is that Stewie factor, which always plays a part for Cloud9 and in his aggression, his ability to be the playmaker for the Cloud9 side. And he has just ridiculous statistics as far as like how many opening duels he takes like versus any other player. It's ridiculous. Very aggressive, and that's going to play heavily into part for Cloud9 when they get onto that T side. And I'm very curious how that will be for North on the defense, how they'll deal with that style, because obviously one of the really big things we saw recently from Cloud9 was their ability to actually have the firepower behind Stewie consistently, and not only the firepower but also the clutch potential out of the likes of Shroud in a lot of those spots, because that was a huge difference maker. Shroud was able to create a lot of situations which were very, very difficult for the opposing team, where they should absolutely have won with just unreal clutches. So that makes them a very, very strong, a very deadly T-sided team because of the explosiveness that they have there to bring to bear against their opposition. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that will manifest itself in this matchup in particular. But of course, again, North, one thing I would love to see from them is, and one thing they are very good at, is building those rounds out of middle. And that's something that I think is really the art, or rather the hardest part of playing Mirage on the T side. And really that is the art that we'll see MSL, well, he'll paint a perfect picture for us. At least that's what I'm looking for.
It's soon to begin. The warm-up is about to conclude, so it is game time between these two sides. Do you have a pick in terms of GoTV, Dan, for the first half on the CT side? Well, I'm going to take away. I asked you a question, but I'm going to delete it. I'm going to pick Stewie for the CT side on GoTV, and for those of you in GoTV, as aforementioned, definitely MSL on the T side, and maybe follow his grenades and then follow the T on the other end of them. Pistol time, North starting, and Cajun B has been dropped to Tech9, which means he is the raid boss.
All right, well, we'll see how that raid boss turns out for him. It's good with that kit and smoke for the CT side, always very important. And we get a pretty big, well, it's essentially a play from Cloud9 where they're, if there is a B rush, they can defend against it, but they can play retake on A. But the mix-up is Stewie in Palace. That's a very unexpected position. And because now North are going through middle, taking over the A bomb site, he might become incredibly crucial. That's a great opener there, coming in from config as the bomb is now allowed to go down. And Stewie comes in from the back, but AZ's covering it.
Two-man T-push through to CT as well, and there's currently a duel with one of the two last players for Cloud9, and he will get his head absolutely ripped off, Game of Thrones style. There goes Shrouds as well, heads rolling all over the floor, and the pistol has gone to North. Great start for North, and now we can see their approach to anti-ecos and anti-force buys, which is more detailed than some others. For example, on Inferno, not quite Mirage, but on Inferno, we'll see them approach Banana with double nades behind the wall, whereas most teams will focus on the sandbags and not consider that position. So North definitely dot the I's and cross the T's when it comes to these rounds.
I have to definitely just throw props in there for Cloud9 to adding that layer of detail into that last round, just having Stewie in the Palace. Almost never see that, and they're quite unlucky that didn't pay off for them. But as we see North now progressing into the middle area to run this anti-force buy, they'll be met with no resistance so far. It's in fact Stewie, as we can see on camera now, making an information play for the CT side. Cloud9 will have info that no one is towards T-Pit at the moment, but Stewie perhaps is not long for this well as AZ is creeping in. But Stewie's got a very good position here, and he's played this perfectly, but he just has to finish the frag. Oh no, runs out of bullets. You hate to see that.
Not every analyst is a fan of mid position on a round like this, because you're exposed to so many different positions and it could all turn into disaster for you. Almost 2 plays lost for North, in fact, but AZ will survive with 8 HP for the time being. Still 3 Cloud9 players alive, North without possession of either site. However, they've made the right decision in that Shroud is the only person towards B rather. Automatic though, not sure if he's going towards mid or B, but for now Shroud's alone.
It's going to be a tough spot to hold. Let's see if he can do it. Shroud, oh, that's a good start there. The weakened AZ finished off by the P250 as Shroud, but he will fall, leaving Automatic and Nothing to the task. A quick frag there from Automatic, increasing the damage done. Nothing, maybe with another one. Indeed, the bomb down. 20 seconds to go for the plant. Now Nothing can actually do this one. Magisk is fairly healthy. Here comes nothing around the corner. Magisk looking for it, though. And that will be the rounds. A very expensive round for the north side. And just imagine had Stewie made the kill by T-Spawn, how that would have changed the round as well. That was very winnable and very well played by Cloud9.
This was very unfortunate for Stewie. If he just took a slight second more, put his crosshair on the head, but I think he might have been afraid of the avatar facing him. And sometimes, you know, the avatar might be looking in one direction, but they can see you already, so can't be too careful with that. Cloud9 with the USP stack into the B bomb site. And MSL, he's going for a fact-finding mission. He's going hiking. He's a rambling hiker, that. And he may be trespassing on private land because the CTs have been forced to defend. However, the rest of his team will move into the A site, and he will run distraction.
Yeah, that was perfect, wasn't it? Just got all the information straight away. Not for like, yep, this is an easy one. Just go all the way into A. We know there's pretty much nobody going to be present there, and all the kills will be picked up. But we can't forget that previous round from Cloud9 where they were able to get 4 kills. So they did really make that force buy worth it as far as, you know, speaking about economy pressure goes. And now we're going to see North in a situation where they're not as cozy as they may or would have liked to have been. But the issue for Cloud9 is whether or not they can actually put the pressure on the wounds here and take this round away from North. Skadoodle will have an AWP, but he doesn't have any Kevlar with that.
Yeah, that's an interesting start to the CT half, and that may stop him from going towards the middle position because he would be subject to grenades. He will start on A ramp. In the meantime, AUC is going to be looking for a fast play into connector, almost classic phase style. 2-man push coming in, looking the wrong way, spotted by nothing. As that smoke goes down, the fast play completely failed. The bomb's been isolated, automatic with the continuation of spray. Won't be enough though. Still Mac 10s in play for the time being, but rifles will be collected.
And we got Skadoodle there watching like a hawk with that AWP over by the A bomb sites. In Cajun B, he won't find himself an entry there. He's going to try his luck elsewhere as he makes his way towards the B apartments and sees what he can find. It's quite the run, and he does have plenty of time here to really work this. And this may be one of the more unexpected angles for Cloud9 as they do have possession of the bomb, and that does give them some level of expectation as to how KGB might want to attack the round. But the question is, did he give away a sound cue there that was audible for Shroud? It may have been the case because I think some positions were shifted indeed. We've got nothing now, looking for that push through the vents. So Cajun B, surely there's no way he can do this now. They know where he's coming from, and there it is. They set it up, and they knocked it down. Good round from Cloud9.
Unbeknownst to Cajun B, Shroud was in ladder room and heard him running through apartments before he even got to the site, so the game was given away. Now that was a failed round from North, but it was a very interesting one. You have to consider how sharp you have to be on timing to rush connector and have those grenades go down into jungle just in time. So that was really sharp stuff, definitely something to look at in a replay. Doesn't work for North on this occasion, trying to overwhelm Cloud9 before they know what hit them. And that may be a sign of things to come from North, who are back on the buy. Skadoodle now has some clothing with his AWP. He's no longer naked. MSL and Cajun B moving top mid. Config maybe flashed into connector. Fairly standard stuff for the North side if that happens. Just a dry peek from him, actually. So indeed some changes. You see Automatic moving around in the ladder room looking for a peek, but the smoke will deny him.
So these counter smokes from the CTs will slow things down. Ooh, that was very scary there for nothing. Down to 13 health. Cursory bullet through the smoke from Config. And again, North, they have to wait out these grenades somewhat. And it looks like Cloud9 haven't given away middle just yet. Of course, they've given up the middle itself, but connector is definitely watched over by Cloud9 at the moment. They've got a passive position by Stewie, sort of having to watch 2 spots, as you can see here, worried that there could be someone boosting through the smoke, which his teammate Short could not cover. Automatic still smoked off. This is a great positioning here from North, ready to go for the split onto the A bomb side. It's really going to be down to nothing as well. 13 HP on the shadow position, and Skadoodle here for the initial defense, and it's going well.
They're getting picked off like a scab on a child's knee by these CTs. 5 players still remain alive for Cloud9. This is a huge round for them in the early stages of Mirage. Perfect round from Cloud9. Colgate smiles all over 2-3 for North, who are going to be in eco territory at this point. Config somehow's got 3,900, but apart from that, it's 2 to 2.5k for the Danish side.
And in talking about the artistry to expect perhaps from North on building that mid control into a situation where you've got an advantage on whether you're going for a split or you can get some positioning where you can leave a lurker somewhat to do a lot of damage to the CTs, and then you force rotation, then he gets the kills. Situations like this, so far Cloud9 are playing very well against that. Of course, we saw them last round, and now we have an eco situation for North, which, of course, Cloud9 should be enjoying. There's an opener there from Skadil. The plant attempt is made, and it is successful. Not sure how Magix was able to get that one, but looks like the CTs will be in for the cleanup, and it will be very brief.
Yeah, it was easy to get the bomb down there, spinning like a spinning top, which was quite hilarious, trying to avoid the headshot and make his hitbox as random as possible. Proved successful, so that bonus money is in, but we are all tied up 3-3. Hashtag palm tree boys. How many of you knew that there were cannons in CT spawn of Mirage? Look at this. Spinning. I was going for a song there, but I don't actually have a song that starts spinning, Dan. So
What, you spin me right round?
pretty much.
You spin me. Yeah,
Yeah,
we won't go there, but
Marvelous.
everyone knows it.
Yeah, let's leave it alone. One orb. Magix has gone for the Krieg, Dan. You're a fan of this. The Krieg is here. 100% armor penetration when you really need to break through them walls.
Yep, and of course it's a very accurate weapon. Very accurate weapon. Magic's one of the few players still trying to really make this work. It is a bit more expensive than the AK, but we'll have to hold that for Skadoodle now. In a forward position, will receive a rush, takes down the first player. No scope missed on the airborne Cajun B. Stewie quick though, able to take down the player, trying to go for the bomb plant. Not going to be successful this time. Good positioning here, held by Stewie forward. He needs to buy this space for his teammates. Even gets the kill with the assist there from nothing on the incendiary. And just like that, Cloud9 able to stop the rush.
Yeah, they were surrounded like a 90s action hero movie, where North, MSL caught without a gun in his hand, just forced to face the firing squad. Nothing he could do at that point. So another failed mission for the North side, who are heading towards maximum loss bonus after this eco round. So it will be essentially the buy between the buys already. Kevlar Tech 9s for most of the squad. So let's see what they have to bring to this round. Magix is top mid, the rest of them in B apartments, where Strad is currently on his own. So there's a window of opportunity. But it may soon close as Automatic heads back towards B. So it seems Cloud9 expected a rush towards A, but they were wrong.
Shroud looking to go Juggernaut mode. Immovable perhaps, but no, he is eventually taken down after 2 kills. However, his job likely done here as his teammate Automatic is fast into the B-bomb site and cleaning things up without too much of a hassle. Just nothing left here to get the final frag. Oh, perhaps not. Magisk able to steal that one away. And he'll take the AK as well. So just looking to do some damage here. And yes, I mean, generally speaking, I've been impressed by how decisive Cloud9 have looked so far in the opening here.
Yeah, Magix has nothing to lose at this point. He doesn't need to save because they're going to have loads of money next round regardless, so he can try to essentially win the round. He's got a minute on the clock, but all that time has been taken away. His watch has been crushed, it's been drowned. Stewie 2K is having no more of that nonsense. 5-3 for Cloud9 now. That's 5 rounds in a row since the pistol and the associated rounds, if you will, the forced by the eco. Nothing but success coming the way of Cloud9. He wouldn't have it any other way. Shroud eventually taken down there. Config, okay, got an AK as well.
Yeah, they're looking really good at the moment. I mean, it looks like smooth sailing. And I don't know if you're on the same page with me, but I feel as though North have to have a great T side if they want to win this game of Mirage.
I don't think, I mean, it's one of their strengths, so why the hell not? But they've struggled so far. The connector smoke finally comes down. I think the lower one might be the CT one, I'm not sure, but that's commonly a response from the CTs to make life difficult. 2 players in for North. We've got 1 lurker in Cajun B, and it's a team kill. But what does it mean? It's a 4-on-4. How much can Cloud9 read into this? Trying to kill the time, trying to ruin the timing. Great team flash, but he doesn't see anything. He does not see the players. A blind spot config. Oh, he's lost. He's taken down with the bomb, no less. Stewie unable to defend from ladder room, but the problem is with North.
Look at this pace from North. All these rounds just going really fast against Cloud9, a team that really works very well at a fast pace. That's where they, too, find their comfort. As Magic tries to re-control connector, able to go in front of the smoke just before it blooms. That is perfect, as that bomb is very close to being picked up now, and indeed it is collected here for North. And they've got 45 seconds, which is plenty of time to construct this attack onto the A site. But with nothing creeping around the CT vent, this could be problematic. As North have only 3 players, it's difficult to watch everything, and indeed, nothing finds the perfect angle there to catch AZ as he progresses forwards. That creates additional worry there for Magic, who's carrying the bomb, but now time is starting to run low, and Shroud, still undiscovered on the bomb site, is ready to cause all kinds of problems. And here he comes. Easy takedown onto Magic. No bomb plant for you, and Nothings will swoop in for the help as well.
Great presence of mind from Shroud to go for the preemptive burst towards Palace, and he was right, but nobody was there. They couldn't move as fast as he could. So great play from Cloud9. Shroud just waiting and crushing that round for North. And again, this is 6 rounds in a row. If we ignore the pistol, this is basically a 6-0. This is not good territory for North. I mean, they've had some good ideas, but I don't know how close they have come to converting those ideas in any of these rounds. Pistols again. Butcher by 5 Deagles looking for meat shots on these Cloud9 players. And this time the focus will be on the A bomb site. Stewie is in an extremely forward position. Skadoodle can run distractions on long range, but how many kills can he get from here?
There's one, but the trade is immediate. Nothing now has to step up to the plates. He's done a decent job here so far. Still, Cloud9 have an AWPer in Skadoodle by the toll booth, ready and waiting for the opportunity to strike. And North are having problems at the moment getting onto the bomb site with these pistols of theirs, without any further utility to aid them in the push. And with the bomb down on the side as it is, things get now increasingly difficult. Oh, the timing. Automatic goes down, and maybe there's a chance after all.
Those puncturing sounds. 3 on 3. No rifles collected by these players. The Shadow, does he realize what's going on? Nothing. Does he see the Shadow? Did he see it at all? Either way, he's got himself 2 headshots, and the third player finally materializes, but gets hit by the phaser straight away. I don't think he noticed the Shadow there. Or maybe he did and took a read that he could look the other way. 7-2-3. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think Nothing saw the Shadow? Saw he was on the fence and could look the other way because he knew where the player was? Or did he have no idea?
I think I think that he noticed the Shadow, but he thought that the player was below instead of on the fence. So that's what I think. But
I think you're insane.
Maybe we can ask him later and find out. I'm sure. But
I think he probably realized he was. I think he saw the Shadow.
Yeah, he's it's actually awesome because Nothing. I mean, so many players from Cloud9 have at some point, of course, as many professional players have in some points of their career, been under a lot of criticism. But Nothing was one of the players to come back into his own in the last 6 months or so, bringing these great performances. Automatic and Stewie, of course, they joined the team. They were performing amazingly, and now with Shroud and Skadoodle playing as solidly as they have been. And so far today, in this match, although it's only 10 rounds in, it's looking pretty good right now for Cloud9. 7-3 is the score for them.
Nothing is 18 for 4 at the moment. So he is all over the place. He is in that ass. I would normally say arse, actually. I do apologize for my my UK brethren. He's in the arse.
Doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
It's the arse he is in, not the ass. Enough about that. 3 players in the middle area for the T-side. Automatic moving into the ladder room once again. Now, we've got a potential duel later on between Magix and Stewie in the apartment, but for now, we've got the CTs repositioning and North making their way through. Automatic picked off, looking around the smoke. Speaking of which, I thought Nothing might have it, but he doesn't. Skadoodle left as the last man on the A bomb site. Did he see the player on the stairs? He did. MSO has no idea that he's exposed, but AZ will finally trade.
And when Skadoodle's firing off like that, you almost expect him to just knock all the pins down. However, a 3 versus 2 North in a late round situation where they have the advantage. We haven't seen this too commonly on their first half just yet. But can they close this advantage down into a victory? Facing Stewie there, the double face into short. That's going to be good. Now Shroud left in a clutch situation. Will he be visiting the top of Reddit today? Is the question now as the incendiaries are thrown. The bomb is planted on the A bomb site. Shroud waiting patiently for the first opportunity. Bit of info there for him. Seeing those bullets graze off those barrels. So he makes his way forwards. There's the first engagement. But Config will win it. And a round for North. Round number 4, in fact. And as you said, James, you know, North did win the pistols. So this is really the first actual success they've had in the buy versus buy round.
Yeah, it's their first buy round win. And the problem is, at this point, Cloud9 have 3 players who started this round on more than $11,000. That said, money very quickly disappears when you're on the CT side. So if North can string some rounds together, well, I mean, it's round 12. They need to string all the rounds together if they can. AWPs finally on both sides. Cajun B may end up dueling with Skadoodle. Currently around Connector. He will tag MSL, take some damage himself. I don't know how many plays he saw top mid, but it's very early days in this round, so C9 won't be going crazy with this information. Going back to the well now, Skadoodle and Cajun B caught in isolation.
So confident, so ready to be anywhere. Skadoodle just staying out there in middle. Playing off the smoke, picks up that opener. Now North need to respond. They've gained connector control. Connector control is very important. You can play off of it in a variety of ways. Either leave a player there as a lurker, or perhaps you can use it as a position to split onto the A bomb site with. You can see at the moment North still have their players spread out across the map. I believe, you know, waiting potentially for any sort of information play that could have come in the B apartments, but Cloud9 have been quite passive there. And it's going to be up to North now to make the play. And there's one from Config, but there's the return. And still, where does this leave North?
40 seconds remain. AZ in the site on his own. He needs some help. He's taking damage. He's down to 10 HP. Skadoodle still holding lines, but he's been naded into oblivion. Nothing's gone as well. 2 versus 3, but 2 of these 3 players from North are in the red. How can they try and plant the bomb? They've smoked jungle, and they're going to try and plant on triple, but MSL, he's so close to dying, but he's still alive. He makes the hero play, and it's Magic's versus 2. Only for a split second, though. Full health, but that won't matter. Shroud to take him down, and the worst has happened for North. They've won 1 round after losing 7 and lost the next round immediately.
Very quick trio frags from Shroud there, and nothing's still sitting at 18 kills. I think it was Stewie you said to watch. He's on 4 kills, James. What if the viewers want to see the action, man?
I know, he's just standing in shadow. Well, as long as you've got enough buttons on your keyboard, you can see all the other players as well.
Very true. And here is the lovely 3K from Shroud. Very quick, just the snap stat. Precision and speed from Shroud is becoming incredibly deadly.
Speaking of very quick, one thing we won't see is when Skadoodle got that kill through Connector, the way he moved through A to escape and reposition, checking Palace, checking ramp, very, very careful awareness of the entire map, and that's really important to have in an AWPer. So definitely something to learn by looking at Skadoodle on this map as well.
So right now North, once again, just putting that pressure on middle, trying to take it over, using the use of utility.
There were 7 smokes on the map 10 seconds ago.
And look where it's positioned North now, looking to go for a split onto the B bomb site, using short and the B apartments. And they have a lurker towards Connector as well. The first time they've really run this strategy. Let's see if it works out for them. In they go, and the entry will come. But still, Stewie lurks.
He could wait for a plant, try to exploit as many players as possible, but they've gone for the short plant instead, and that has maybe saved them. And look at that, he's gone down. Couldn't have expected that. Skadoodle trying to do what he can, making his way into the site, spotting one, but not fast enough. The AK superior to the AWP in this round. North with a strong answer to Cloud9, making life very expensive for the North Americans. 2 rounds remain.
And it's really cool to see that North aren't deterred from running a very quick pace, because they weren't really finding a lot of success in playing very fast in some of the previous rounds, but obviously they mixed up their approach. They went for they took middle like they normally do. They went for the split this time onto the B-bomb site, and they just hit those entry frags, showing that they still have the confidence that they can make the shots that they need to make these plays work, and that Cloud9 are indeed, well, they bleed. They can bleed. They can be shot. They can bleed like anyone else. And here it comes, another fast play from North.
So now Nothing, the top fragger, has a 5-7. However, this is weird, but we don't have time to talk about it. Oh my god, he's got 2 kills, but we'll come back to this a bit later on. He's still alive, he's got a smoke, he's buying time. The Molotov won't do anything. His teammate got taken down, but he's still there with a 5-7, and now it's Shroud, alone versus 3. Behind the smoke, there are players in Connector, forced through the flashbangs. He'll hear MSR, so he's got himself a warning. And his position gives him a reasonable chance for a 1 versus 1 by this wall if he just stays there, waiting patiently for the smoke to go. MSR, though, repositioning, escaping by chance, just in time. So we'll see what he chooses to do. So I was going to say Nothing's a top fragger, and he's just got a 5-7. He actually swapped places with Stewie in that situation, but why not just swap the gun and have them play their normal positions? I don't know how much that might affect things there, but I mean, if Nothing has, he's got 13 rounds of experience with what North are trying to do, and maybe their tendencies around. So I think there's an argument to be made there. Not saying either one is right or wrong, but it's an interesting scenario. Also, one thing to note is that North's strat book, despite being somewhat unsuccessful so far in this half, seems to be quite deep on the T side. They're playing out a lot of different strategies.
And again, a lot of them have just been fast strategies too. We can see it, and that's another situation where they go super fast. The previous round they went super fast to B. This time they went super fast towards A. And again, it's just so good because one of the reasons why they're losing a lot of the earlier buy rounds, where they took a more slow approach using map control and so on, is because they were losing some of the aim battles from Cloud9, but here they're showing, you know what, we can go fast, we can match you for firepower. So a great statement from North here. They picked up their 6th round now, and Cloud9, they're starting to lose a grip on them. In fact, the momentum's lost now, and their weaponry is a result of that. They are down to UMP and CZs and so on. It's not a good look here for Cloud9 now.
Stewie, Automatic, Skadoodle, and Nothing, all on the A side. Stewie, Automatic, and Skadoodle, 3 of those 4 players, very close towards Palace, towards ramp. Nothing playing his usual position. North, they know that there are shortcomings in Cloud9's buy. They know that aggression is a reasonable expectation, so they will change the pace. They'll take a slow approach, but the surprises may be nasty. We've got CZs in play, Dan. We have CZs in play.
We do indeed, and you never know in Counter-Strike Global Offensive what can happen when these pistols are in play. North going for a split onto the A side. That's where the stack is. There's the first kill from Stewie. Redemption perhaps for an earlier missed fragging situation with that CZ. And he's going to control the pit position. He's picked himself up a weapon. And now North has some decisions to make. They've left themselves with 40 seconds to go. And that sort of commits them into going for this A play where all the CTs are just waiting for them.
This feels like DoD Avalanche when the MG42s are out. I smell a massacre on the way, Dan. Can North get their 7th round? So far, so good, but it's very tentative. 80 with 2 kills. KGB with a very nice one around that smoke on the stairs, but they still need to plant the bomb, and 2 CTs are alive. Shroud's rotating towards CT. Stewie's almost got 2 kills, but he runs out of bullets. But Shroud, he's in position, 10 seconds. If they don't plant for triple, they are surely in trouble. Oh no, they've gone the wrong way, and the burst is there, but he instant trade from KGB. The hero play gets the 7th round on the board for North. How close was that one?
Oh man, it was painfully close. But North have managed to actually collect a bunch of rounds here towards the end of this first half to make it look very respectable. I mean, it can't get more even than this. I mean, 8 rounds there for Cloud9, 7 rounds for North at the end of the first half. And if you look at the way things went after that pistol victory from North, you wouldn't have expected this kind of scoreline. It really did feel like North were running into a brick wall for quite some time there. But now, everything changes. Cloud9, now they get to play the aggressive side. And for me, I was expecting to see potentially their best performance on this side. And one thing that has impressed me from Skadoodle, I know we talked about him a lot, is how he has made the AWP work on the T side of this map. Because it's not the easiest thing in the world.
Skadoodle and Nothing will be the grenade men for the T side. Skadoodle with the Molotov, which can have some post-plant use if you keep someone in the high ground towards, well, in the apartments, because depending on where you plant it default, or if you plant it for short, you can stop diffusers coming in from the apartment position without facing, but you pretty much never see that situation, only on train, in fact. So we'll see what they do. The late flashbangs coming in as they jump out of the window. The timing is important there, but Magic's, he is keeping it quiet, and that's going to yield him 3 kills. They're going for the 4th one on Nothing, being very, very patient there, and he will get the 4th kill. He's got no pistols left, no bullets left, Dan. No bullets, almost had grenades.
I know, I was enjoying that.
But anyway,
fumble there.
It's a great 4K to kick things off. That position has paid dividends for both teams, but the pistol, very important early on. Magic says, like, please come in, please come in, please come in. Your tickets have been revoked.
It's actually incredible how often you see highlights from this position in the pistol round. Obviously, it's not as typical as when you would see the players actually exit from the position, like outside the balcony where he was standing. But yeah, really good damage from Magis, great performance. But they have to deal with a force buy. That's oh sorry, actually a half buy. So or is it a full?
It's a force buy.
No, sorry, it's
force buy.
There it is. Sorry, couldn't see the armors. I am in need of some glasses perhaps, but we'll see whether or not Cloud9 can make this investment work for themselves. Not a lot of utility for North, but that could work out quite well if they can keep Cloud9 at distance. But
interestingly, like 3 players have gone through to underpass, but they've left the bomb in apartments, which Skadoodle is going back for. But Strad's lurking outside A. So I'm not quite sure what the plan is from Cloud9, but maybe the mysterious plan will be revealed soon enough. But it's an interesting place to leave the bomb, because Skadoodle's gone from mid into apartments and then come back out again. Boost from the T's, but they've been spotted. They know what's up. Config will be heard on the ladder, and the T's will make their escape. So the bomb has gone from being left in apartments to rotated back towards A. So perhaps there was some mid-round discussion as what the plan was. Now we've got automatic in the connector area and 2 on the ramp. Shroud taken down, but it's Skadoodle carrying the all-important bomb, and there it goes.
that was really nice there from Cajun. I think it's just some pre-fire, in fact, just around the angle, and easy frag there in mid for Config. So this is all but falling apart here for Cloud9. Automatic would really love to get some damage in here. He needs a frag or 2 at the very least, but will be denied by a very clean performance from North. Well done to them, as now they'll be reaping some of the rewards, as they will now be up against Glocks, and they can further build their bank.
5,263 souvenirs dropped, 69, 76, 83.
I was just looking at that as well. It's nice, isn't it?
Nice. Yeah, they've updated it from last time.
Yeah.
It's nice.
In
fact, that's part of the PGL overlay, because the in-game one is the same. Impressive. North with a 1-round lead, Cloud9 on the Glock train. The Glock train has got plastic wheels. They are worn. They're not even straight. They need truing, to say the least. Life is not good if you're on a Glock train. MSL and Cajun B will be ready to receive these players, and headshots will be deployed. Blat, blat, blat. There it goes. More USP kills. A lovely thud to finish off the 10th round for North.
Yeah, and they're making this very, very fast, both of these teams, because of the manner of... Obviously, that's just a Glock rush, but just generally, both teams seemingly want to play it pretty fast, and that's always exciting to watch. I think Mirage is obviously a great map for that sort of style. And I'm very curious to see what the approach for Cloud9 will be, generally speaking, and how perhaps it may have changed since they had some of the results that they've been having recently, and how things have changed, how the confidence levels have changed in the team as well. Perhaps they've prepared some new stuff here.
I am assuming this is a technical timeout, and there it is. Technical pause. Boom. You can see the... I forgot what those screens are called behind them. The command center or something that has all the...
The watchtower.
The watchtower. There we go.
Watchtower.
Thank you. The watchtower, which has... I was marveling at those earlier. The watchtower, which has all the screens on.
Yeah, that's very cool.
He looks at it with perfect timing. Outstanding stuff. Interestingly, some of the Cloud9 players are wireless mouse fans. I don't know if they use them. I think at least 2 of the players are using wireless mice, or use wireless mice, but maybe Automatic is one of them.
It's crazy. Days was going on about that, saying like he was the biggest skeptic and he was converted. It's technology.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool, man.
Some of those actually have less latency than some wired mice.
Well, that's the thing that would blow your mind, isn't it? It kind of feels like it would be counterintuitive in that sense,
yeah,
but obviously...
I imagine it's so minimal that it doesn't matter as far as humans are concerned.
Same thing with monitors. I mean, CRTs are, the cathode ray tube technology. That's pretty much instantaneous, as far as I understand. And TFTs, LCDs, whatever, there's latency there on all the monitors we use, but you don't really notice it. It's so small these days.
So marginal. It is not relevant for the most part. Nice adjustable stands there. So none of these people are paying me, by the way. But they should definitely.
Well, we're just talking about the technology, James.
Awesome,
we're not.
I know, but I mean, they should pay us because then we would have money then.
There we go.
Basically.
All right.
So
sounds good.
This will be resuming soon. I like these little cameras and their clamps. That's pretty cool.
You a fan of clamps?
I'm a fan of clamps. Yeah, G clamps are good. I think the only clamp I can think of is a G clamp. But we're not going to have a clamp discussion, Dan, because we're not that boring.
I feel like
we could do that.
It's one of the...
We could. We are more than capable of clamp discussion.
I know, right?
But we will not engage.
It's one of the things that we haven't really discussed. Out of all the weird things, we have discussed in the past, clamps have never really come up for some reason.
Over the years, we have never discussed clamps.
Yeah.
If you've got something to say about clamps, then you're welcome to tweet me.
There might be some enthusiasts out there,
If you're a clamp enthusiast, then tweet Dan. But if you're just a general person who has something to say about clamps, then tweet me. I think that's the way of the way things should be. Marvelous. So 10-8. Not much to read into this just yet. I mean, well, do you think that Cloud9's aggression will be too difficult for North to deal with, or are we underestimating North by saying that?
Well, it's interesting too because I think so far Stewie's had a frustrating game. I think he's been playing. He's been playing well, but he's had some of these spots where he would expect himself to get kills. We had very early on the force buy round where he crept into T spawn, was unable to get the kill there on the T side player there with the CZ.
Why is everyone in Counter-Strike has a ginger beard? Have you noticed that? Like even Anders' beard is ginger. I never noticed that until like a week ago. I was like, everyone's ginger on the beard, but not necessarily elsewhere. Like there's a distinct two different colors there on top of his head and the bottom of his head.
I like how this confounds you.
Yeah, it's someone told me I need to know about the science of this.
But yeah, to answer your question, you asked me a question and you just started talking about something else. When I was answering it.
But I just had to say that right there.
Just need to get on the observations about the beards. Beard science. Well, I think it's interesting with Cloud9 because normally what I would expect them to do would be to test their opponents insofar as how they would respond to their aggression. Like if they just run something simple, even like a set piece of smokes into the A site, how well does that opponent react to that? How well are they going to hit their entry frags and so on and so forth? Just that kind of aggressive stuff is what I would like to see out of Cloud9 just because I think they do it well. And they're a team that's played that situation once you've taken the site very, very well. As far as, everybody knowing exactly where they have to go, who has to cover what. They're a team that does that well, so it is a strength of theirs. So I would expect to see that. But I think North are more than capable of dealing with pretty much anything. I think, skill-wise, they can handle it. They obviously understand rotations and strategies, and they're a team that will have done their homework. And Cloud9 have been very visible at the top level lately, so this should be very interesting.
Yeah, I think, from what we've seen on the T side, in terms of ideas from North, it looks like they are very prepared for this major. The unpause has finally come in. We're about to get back into the game. Cloud9 proceeding on the T side. Limited grenade, but they've got 5 AKs, and we know what they can do with those. North are continuing as they were, if you will. MSL with the UMP. He's got $7,600 in the hole, so we'll see how that plays a part in things later on. Cloud9 taking their initial positioning. Shroud will make his way into the Palace area. Automatic will go towards top mid. Almost going in front of the boxes there. That would not have been good. Stewie nothing in apartments, but the bomb is rotating towards A. 2 lurkers towards A, pretty much guarantees an A play unless something goes terribly wrong.
Yeah, and that's interesting actually because I wonder if Automatic was wanting to use that smoke to be someone that smokes jungle later on because you can obviously get the smokes in from that position. So we'll see how impactful him having to force that use of smoke is going to be in the A play that is to come in this round, as you highlighted. 2 players from Connector. There's a very good pickup there from Stewie into the short position. There's a challenge from AZ. Not going his way, though, is now Cloud9 have a very good situation here. 5 versus 3 with a minute left. This is a spot that a team of the caliber of Cloud9, they shouldn't... There's almost, there's a very low chance that they should throw around away like this.
But the bomb is rotating away from ramp. I don't know if they have a read on MSL being on the ramp, because that's where he is, or if they're trying to play against the rotation of the CTs. But the CTs have rotated straight back to B. So maybe MSL had an audio cue there. So this is going to get really weird. 35 seconds left. Cloud9 are in a position to split the A site from 3 places with nothing on a potential flank, but they're running out of time to do so. They need this to be almost perfect.
Yeah, Config is in a great position to make the hero play here. Tech9 and an AWP. There's one spot. Falls off the balcony now into a more passive position. Cajun B with enough time to get into position as well. In comes Stewie, though. That's a very fast shot from Config to shut him down, but he's got so much more work to do, and it's nothing to take him out. Cloud9 win the round with very, very little time left in that round, and I was a bit worried there that Config would just go off and just shut him down.
Yeah, that was a really interesting situation. Kind of reminds me of Death Note, where both people think that they've got the upper hand and are constantly outsmarting each other, and it ends up that Shroud cuts off MSL on the rotation, and then you've got the duels on the B bomb site, which are ultimately won. We saw Magic's boy moving around, trying to see what was going on in Connector, and he found out. Got shot in the face. Good timing for him. Manages to get the smoke off and shoot the player in the face. So we have a drop which has not been detected by Cloud9, a player in the underpass. He may come into play later on. Nothing doing just yet.
Yeah, Cloud9 playing a slow couple rounds. And North, they are in a position where taking aggression could be just what the Doctor ordered. How cognizant will they be, though, Cloud9, to try to anticipate stuff like this? Config could have the perfect timing on a peak, but it looks like he may have been spotted indeed. I think Stewie saw a pixel there. Perhaps the shoulder was exposed. What on earth is that? Able to turn around and take Stewie out. Again, another frustrating situation there for Stewie, but he still has 4 teammates there alive and kicking, ready to go into the B-bomb site.
Who doesn't have 4 teammates around him is Magic's boy at the moment, alone on the B-bomb site. And now that's being open for business, but Cloud9 don't know that just yet. It'll take them a while to check all the usual corners. The bomb being thrown out of apartment, someone staying on the high ground. That's very important post-plant. Definitely something to think about to stop the flanks. Automatic stare as well. Not much North can do, and they will be going for the save, congregating in the A sites. And this is around where they don't have the money in the hole, so these players will need to drop for their team. And there is a big difference in having 3 players or 2 players surviving in rounds such as this. Cloud9 tied the score 10-10.
This is getting pretty tight between these two teams. It does feel right now that Cloud9 have found their groove a little bit into the T side with these buy rounds.
So who are your players of choice to watch on GoTV in this half then?
As I said previously, I think Skadoodle is definitely, if you're someone that likes to pick up the AWP on T side of Mirage, I think he's one of the better players in consistently creating opportunities and getting action, because sometimes it can feel as though you just get shut down by smokes, superior angles by the CTs, and life can be difficult, but he's consistently able to make it work. So he's definitely a player for me, and Stewie, of course, as well, is just the playmaker for the team, despite having a frustrating game so far in a few spots. But got a fast timing from Automatic potentially here, just straight towards the pit position, making sure he's safe against some of the pre-nades thrown by the CTs to counter rush timings. Now he'll creep his way up a bit further there as Cloud9 are just setting themselves up in a similar way to some of the previous rounds. Got to be careful about that one. We've seen that before.
Yeah, and it's not safe for CTs to stand by the barrel anymore either, because you can shoot through the lip of the wall straight into somebody's head. We've seen that recently. I think at the offline qualifier we saw that. Yep. So that said, Magic's boy has gone straight back into apartments after smoking it. Cloud9 may move toward the middle area. Shroud still lurking towards A. But I think we've got a smoke towards mid to allow Stewie to move towards the boxes. But 1 minute on the clock, and it seems it might be a B split attempt.
I like this play here from North. And also from Cloud9, North need to take some slight risks here. They don't have great weaponry. They've got the UMPs. And Cloud9 also anticipating aggression. They've slowed the round down dramatically, and they're going to go for a quick play onto the B1 site now at this point. A set piece with smokes, but Magis is in such a forward position that he might be able to get 2 quick kills here as they run in. There's number 1. Magis looking for more there. Perfect timing on the flashbangs there from the CTs as Magis has to pull back, has to pull the pistol out. It's just not good enough. And there's Config now just sitting on the bomb site, waiting for the opportunity as Cloud9 desperately make their way in. Desperate is the operating word right there as Config annihilates the offense. Oh dear, Cloud9, it's all falling apart.
The garden hose deployed. Pesticides for all. Pesticides by the bucket load. And the bucket is very full indeed. MSL second peak, not good enough to take Skadoodle down. Looks like he might survive, although Config is on the flank from top mid. Skadoodle looking sharp today, but the round is with North. They take the lead once more. We'll see what this does to the money of Cloud9, who failed the plant. And they can buy for sure. They're mostly above $4,000, so I'm sure the buy will come back in. But that was a great play by the CTs, patiently waiting. You don't need to take every fight that is potentially offered, but just wait to have a more critical impact. Wait for that plant to come in. 2-man spray down. Lovely stuff from the CTs.
Oh yeah, and it's one of those spots where the chaos is high and these positions can go unknown, but they're going to have to hold that for Config wants to create more chaos here. He's going for that aggression there on the side of the smoke on short. What will he find is the question with that FAMAS of his. This is a very scary place to be in. A bit too many flashbangs there for him. He's going to fall back.
We haven't picked a player to watch on GoTV for the CT side, and Config seems to be up to some shenanigans at the moment, so I'm going to select him. For those of you on GoTV, we recommend watching Config on the CT side. Dan gave you his thoughts for the T side. T side, which currently has possession of the middle area. Shroud lurking towards A, nothing lurking towards B. Bomb top mid, so not too much info as to where Cloud9 might be headed.
But look at the position there from Stewie. We just saw it as the rotation is going to come in here for the team. They've got Stewie in connector, so that's why they're deciding to go for this big rotation. They can now get themselves onto that A play. Stewie can be able to be in a position to open things up as his teammates draw a lot of attention to the forward positions of Pit and Palace. And close range, we have MSL with that FAMAS. He's going to be a big part to play in this defense because his teammates might get smoked away, or maybe not. MSL ready with that FAMAS, but what damage can he do? Nothing.
AZ stuck behind the smokes, unable to help his teammates who are falling one by one like a dog through dominoes. It's a total mess here for the CT side. The inverse plant completely exposed for the Ts. Good presence of mind while they've got the smokes down towards jungle and possession as well. It's Stewie position there. And again, North are in for the save. Now, it was a good round from Cloud9 in the sense that North were forced to, or chose to, give up possession of the middle area entirely and had minimal info. So when Cloud9 burst onto the site, late info for North players deep in B, and they're forced to just watch, listen to the gunshots and take cover as Cloud9 tied a score again.
Yeah, it's getting really interesting between these two teams. Every time you think that one team's taking momentum, the other team manages to respond, take it away, get their own string of rounds. And now it's Cloud9 putting North in a position where they've been reset now, and of course it's going to be really difficult for them to really field anything for a good couple rounds to deal with Cloud9's T side. So we can see North are taking a tactical timeout here to try to discuss and decide how to handle this.
I just noticed this on the Cloud9 camera that Automatic and Stewie basically have the same haircut, except Automatic's hairline is further forward on the side of his head. So I don't know what that means for you at home.
I like this continued analysis of the players'
attention to detail, Dan. It's about attention to detail, and that's what I have in spades. Indeed, it is 11-11 at present. Those are the two boys there, and you can see it's even pointing in the same direction. Wind-swept hair. It's beautiful stuff. It's almost as handsome as the Observer portraits.
That's true. I've missed those. If those have been up on the screen, I've missed those.
I definitely have, Dan. See, attention to detail.
I'm
all over this.
We're back in the game, though. 11-11 is the score. Cloud9 and North seemingly unable to separate things too much at this point, but Cloud9 have a great opportunity to do so. As we see North just spending all their money here. They have just been reset on their economy, so they have to make this work. Magic was able to, of course, save an AK-47, so there is a lot to work with here for North, but surely Cloud9 will try and anticipate an aggression here from North.
These dudes are in mid like Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. Back to back, and it's going to be successful so far. I don't know if Automatic spotted two players. Is there a fast response from Cloud9? Yes, there is. Molotov's towards the sandwich position. Shroud trying to get out of Palace, but he's being sprayed through the smoke by the CT. Speaking of which, MSL doesn't feel confident to stop the bomb plant from going down, but the success is being had anyway. Skadoodle now, last man, 1 versus 4. They know where he is, but can they kill him? Almost a headshot, but not quite. Config goes 1 by 1. There's so many of them, but they're picking one at a time. Skadoodle with a lovely fast shot. How is this happening? It's down to 1-on-1. The odds are ridiculous. This is impossible. But Magic is coming in from the back. Skadoodle seems to know, but Magic sees him in the smoke. What a ridiculous performance. But North, they went in 1 by 1. It was like single file. Now it's your ticket to come in and get wrecked by Skadoodle.
Oh, that is bad. Okay, they win the rounds, but almost everyone dies. And their economy was absolutely horrible. So this gives Cloud9, despite losing the round, a really good opportunity to just absolutely crush North. So what a performance there from Skadoodle. It's absolutely massive there.
Ticket number 2. Now serving ticket number 3. Now serving ticket number 4. Jesus.
It's insane as well because he also anticipated the player from behind, but through the smoke it's just so impossibly difficult.
Yeah, but let's not forget, he just did colossal damage to the money of North. So if they can win this round now, then who knows what happens. But Config is still up to his dirty tactics. He respects nobody.
And this is interesting. North have had so many small aggressions in middle, and generally they've been able to get away with them. Stewie, though, he's crept in towards Connector, and I wonder if he's gone... Yeah, he's gone unknown here by the CT side of North, and he's going to be able to get the pick onto AC. Oh, got to be so careful there, and will take one straight in the face, courtesy of the one MSL.
In the face.
In-game leader of North doing the damage. And that's a 3 versus 4 situation for Cloud9 here. So North, in a comfortable position. They've got a player on Shadow still towards A. The only thing is that they haven't seen the bomb, and there's plenty of time.
Nothing. He wants to give some players some haircuts, just like Fallen Cole did a few weeks ago. 3 versus 4. This is a huge round for Cloud9. If they can win by elimination in this round, the implications of Skadoodle's play earlier is colossal. Stereo kills for the Cloud9 side. Now they're looking for Dolby 5.1. Config, the only man left. And I don't know what choice he has here. I feel like he's got to go for it while the bomb's not down. Because again, if they lose this round, then it's what Skadoodle did in the round prior. May lose them the entire map. But there we go, a very fast 2K. The bomb's on the floor. There are 20 seconds remaining. They're forced to run Cloud9. He'll hear the footsteps of nothing, but nothing lands the headshot. They win by elimination, Cloud9. Where's your money, North? The cash has been taken away.
Yeah, the money's was run out completely indeed, and it's, oh my god, this is so impossible to explain even how, for example, Cloud9 just get 3 kills almost like instantly across the map there to walk into the side, only to be almost shut down by Config. Insane back and forth between these two teams now as North are the ones really drawing the short end of the stick. As Cloud9 have also terrible economy, but they have the weapons. They just won the round, so they're going to be in a position to, if nothing untoward happens, of course, they should be in a position to really just get themselves towards 14 rounds, making a nice 14 to 12 sort of situation before North can buy again. Then there's a spot where if North lose that buy versus buy, Cloud9 are on 15 rounds. So you can see in that sense, Cloud9 are really in a big advantage, but we can't count North out on these rounds. There's absolutely, there's so much evidence to suggest that North can make this a doable round. And they've actually purchased a lot of smokes here, which might make things a bit awkward for Cloud9.
For me, you have to go back to the damage done by Skadoodle in that wondrous round which Cloud9 lost, which really amplifies the potential of the situation that they are in at the moment. 12 to 12. 4 rounds needed. Magic's going for a very deep smoke, but it's way too deep. Unfortunately for him, he's going for a deep smoke to get into a closer position, a more dangerous position, but it won't quite work out. Config with the rifle just missing Street 2K. He may have to force a duel. He's the only person with a rifle for his team, but they need rounds, man. They need rounds at this point. And now Stewie, he has an audio cue while that Molotov is down, should they try to push through it. So he can look the other way for a while. 12 to 12, and it seems North still looking for this retake, but they picked up an AK as well, which is soon disintegrating in the hands of Config, thanks to the hands of Stewie. Because once that AK was picked up, Cajun B was running top mid. He was saving already, so maybe there was an opportunity to save that as well. MSL's positioning himself to do so. So we'll see if they take 2 rifles away from this. But other than that, Cloud9, they're in a great position there.
Yeah, and they really needed this round to be clean. It's as clean as you could realistically expect, only losing 1 player. That's great for Cloud9. And that's again putting them in that very strong position now. North have, as I mentioned, stolen away a gun. So we'll see how much that can really help North out in this situation. A couple smokes there still on MSL and Cajun B to work with as well. But one would expect Cloud9 to run a similar round. I mean, the execution of this was really nice, getting the 2 players up catwalk as they were going down in towards the B apartments. Just going for that classic B split, just good coordination, good team play, confident play, and now Cloud9 have that 13 to 12 scoreline. As far as the aggressions go here for North, we're going to see MSL leading with the knees, James. You never want to go down knees first.
It's an interesting analogy there, but I'm going to leave that one there. AZ left on the A site on his own now that his 2 rifles have been lost in a 2-rifle push. Now, you could invest in a flashbang and throw it over the top of the wall. There was an NIP strat for a brief time where they would throw HE grenades over the top of the wall at people who were setting up for executes into the B bomb site. But those positions aren't even necessarily used anymore. But indeed, a flash could or could not be used, but I don't know if really they can even afford that extra money. 14-12, likely to be the score. Magix and AZ moving away. AZ's collected himself an AK, and Automatic's on the hunt. He hasn't got his dogs with him, his sniffer dogs, but he's still going hunting, looking to snag himself some quarry. North have averaged $2,000 in the bank. Right now, life absolutely sucks if you are North.
That's nice though. Still keeping some guns alive, doing some additional work right at the end of the rounds. And Cloud9 will just sit there in the apartments. Don't really want to risk anything else. Skadoodle will be covering that with the AWP. And 14-12 is the score. And this is the point that I'm talking about here, is North now. And by the way, they have indeed, of course, taken 2 guns from the previous round into this next one. So that's really important. It's going to allow them to be able to purchase much more in the way of grenades. But this is the all-important round. Should they lose this, they will have a pretty poor buy in the following rounds, and Cloud9 will be on match points. So this is the round now for North. They must convert this one.
Stewie will be the lurker towards the A site. It's a nice flash from Automatic. Haven't seen that one before. Learn something new every day. Three men around mid for the CT side. But it seems if there will be presence from Cloud9, it will be late. Cloud9 have hardly thrown any grenades at this point. They have utility by the bags. While we have a lack of action, just want to note that we once set off smoke grenades in our office, and then the fire brigade came. That is a fact.
Not really too surprising, the outcome of the
yeah.
The cause and effect, James.
So North have rotated Cajun B towards the B bomb site now. They're trying to anticipate action from Cloud9, and it seems they might be correct, but Cloud9 have still got a minute to play with, a minute to toy with. North have done good to save their smoke grenades, though. They've got 3 more, so they can make life difficult for these North American players.
Yeah, Cloud9 have not really put that much pressure on, have not forced them to really use those, and now we'll get the play in from Cloud9 as the creep comes up short from Cloud9. They've got a couple players there in the apartments to make the push with. Shroud has to get the opener here for his team, but he will be the one opened up by Config's M4. Stewie now, what can he do? It's actually Skadoodle to get the pick off there in return. Stewie through the smoke! We see this so often. Can't quite get the finish there onto Cajun B, but he's weak. 20 seconds to go now here. It's a desperate situation for the remainder of Cloud9 as they try to find these last couple kills, but can they do it in time now? Another kill from Skadoodle as Automatic has cover now to go for the plant. Skadoodle brandishing the AK-47, more dynamic with that weapon as MSL looks to try to close this one down and out, and there's Skadoodle, finds himself at the mercy of MSL, but Automatic will make it a reality for Cloud9. 15 for them, and North still just stuck on that desperate 12.
So close for North. Really unfortunate, especially as in the 1v1, you saw the end of the gun poke out on the corner of the wall, but MSL didn't spot it. But I thought Cloud9 were going to lose that, and regardless, I was going to say that was a really nice strategy from them. They put a wall of smoke into short to pull the short player away, and then they just walk up mid with 3 players with no grenades whatsoever. Then they leave Skadoodle on short, looking through connector with the AWP. I think it was AZ who he picked off, who was on the stairs and tried to rotate. That was a great strat from Cloud9, win or lose. And indeed, they did win, and now they're on match point. Nothing and Stewie moving through apartments. Skadoodle, Automatic, top mid. Shroud lurking in Palace. 3 in A, nobody mid thanks to the smoke from the, for the CTs. Another thing is that, again, we've seen a few players throw a Molotov in CPL on the CT side when that smoke comes in to give them a gap to play with, but it still hasn't become commonplace in these matches.
This is a really nice position from Config. Misses the shot, however, but gets some info there for his team as Cloud9, they've got control now of connector. AZ playing just behind that smoke in the stairs position. A scary situation. Do they know? Looks like Stewie has a good idea. There's the second player spotted on the side. Automatic gets himself a frag as well. The push has been initiated. Cage and P, though, in the front lines, able to steal away an AK. Maybe there's still a chance here left alive for North, but Stewie's going to shut that down, as will Automatic, and that will do it. 16 rounds for Cloud9. A mid-12 for North. A hard fight between these two teams. It was hard, really, to see how this one was going to go.
Yeah, that was very tough for both teams in the end. Some close rounds for North, but again, for me, it comes. I think the tide really changed when Skadoodle almost clutched it in a 1 versus 4, 1 versus 5. I'm not even sure which one it was, but so much damage done in that round. And then when North lose the next round, they've got no money in the bank, and it's such a crucial time, late stage of the match. It's brutal for them, and they are forced to struggle through the rest of the match with bits and bobs of pots and pans, and Cloud9 come out on top.
Yeah, and it's actually crazy because there would have been just another entire buy, and that really would have changed so many things. So impressive performance just to see across the board from Cloud9. We saw a little bit from everybody. Again, we saw the general consistency from Skadoodle. Nothing obviously really starting things off amazingly well. It was, again, only really Stewie that had some frustrating situations, but it didn't really get to him. He was still able to have great impact, doing what he does best in a lot of rounds as well. So generally speaking, an impressive start from Cloud9. I think for a lot of people, we saw this performance from them, of course, just reaching finals at Cologne, which was an amazing feat. Shroud and also Skadoodle just performing immaculately. But the question for all the fans then was, we don't want to get our hopes up for nothing. We want to see consistency. And for me, this is a good start from them.
Nothing with 26 kills. What do you think of that, Paul?
Good question. Life in the old dog yet, perhaps. Had a very good performance, didn't he, in the match for Cloud9. And they start with a winning game on day one as well. Congratulations to them. Let's find out what our panel members thought of that. Jason!
I quite enjoyed it, Paul.
I thought you might have. I thought you might have.
It was really nice.
After all your procrastination in the early part of the preview, and
it was good to
telling
see.
us how bad they were, and Shroud couldn't clutch for life, and nothing was terrible.
Listen, to be fair, Shroud had 2 1 versus 3 situations.
Yeah, all right. I'll give you that.
Regardless, this has been a very good game from this team.
It was a very good performance.
Yeah, it really was, especially after losing the pistol round in such convincing fashion. I mean, they didn't even. It felt like they didn't even take a shot in that first pistol round. But one thing that North wasn't able to do, this Cloud9 defense was so strong at keeping mid control. They really didn't get punished a whole lot up connector. It wasn't until like the end portion of the half when North finally figured out, all right, our slow mid control come in connector and trying to exploit the A bomb site in that fashion. It wasn't working. There were a couple times when they tried to do it where they just get bogged down in connector and don't actually make any progress towards the bomb site. Like, no one wanted to be that player making the move into the site, which is one of the things I said they've been missing since Rubino left, is that kind of late round, mid-round initiative to take a bomb site. But great defense in that sense from Cloud9. They kind of struggled once North picked up the pace a little bit. They were able to get into the bomb site, able to exploit the B site, able to do an execute over towards A very, very quickly. But otherwise, a pretty solid defense out of Cloud9 on the A bomb site. And by the way, this is all through the fact that Stewie and Automatic, they had very quiet first half. They were both sitting around 8 kills, like middle tier ADR, nothing really special, nothing standing out. It was the second half when Stewie in mid was really, really getting Cloud9 a lot of space. I mean, it was a round he just walked up the connector stairs and right into the A-bomb site and gets a kill. And I don't know how that goes unnoticed by North, because one of their strengths on this map used to be the fact that they had very good mid control. They were like most other Danish teams. They had the solid mid control, and they just would let you have it, but they would contain you. And here they just dropped the ball. And then did a great job, Cloud9, of grinding down that economy from North. They kept it alive as long as possible with like 2 or 3 gun saves. And eventually it was that, I like that James referenced the Skadoodle round, the failed ace there, the failed 1v5. But those 4 kills were huge. That's what allowed them to get reset right at the end of the game.
This is the round that we all went crazy about in the green room.
Yeah,
and upset the Chinese casters. Sorry about that, boys.
Exactly. It nullified North as well in terms of economy. They didn't have money at all for the rest of the half at that point. And also I was really happy to see Cloud9. We've talked about this before the game, how they've been managing to diversify the way they approach their T side, having a lot more fast and slow pace strategies and really slowing things down when it needed to. See them actually really think things through. Sometimes even a little slightly too slow for my liking, but still making sure that they have everything in the right place before they execute the bomb site. Still, there were situations when they were going towards an A bomb site through an A execute. They forget to check an obvious spot, behind a bomb site, for example.
Yeah, that was sloppy, wasn't it?
Yeah, those kind of things still happening for them. So I think those are the little minor issues they definitely need to look into. But other than that, they definitely deserve to win this one.
Carried on where they've left off from ESL1 Kelowna. Just a quick mention for Config, a career major best performance is not good enough. It's the story of North. Every time they get these career bests, we've seen Magic's get 37 and still not win the match, and now we've seen Config pick up 29, 4 more than he's ever got in a major match before, and it's still not good enough.
Yeah, he had a very good game, and I mean, where the trouble kind of lies is it's not the kills on the other players, which 18, 16 are the 2 follow-ups on Major's and Cajun. It's the damage. I mean, everyone's at 60 damage or below. There's not enough of that coming out. Which I mean, a lot of those rounds towards the end as well. You have to remember, Cloud9 takes those bomb sites, and it's just immediate save calls at a door. They're trying to preserve the economy, just because if they go for if they go for a battle in a losing situation, they just lose so much more. So it's trying to preserve the match instead of just win the round.
And also.
No, go ahead.
If I may, for Cloud9 as well. I mean, they went for the mid control a lot of the times, but they were also planting seeds in the sense that we were talking about for Big on the game on Inferno against FaZe before. Is that they would go for the mid smokes to Molotovs, and then go for a straight up play towards the B bombs that straight away afterwards. The only problem there was that Config, being as relentless as he is in middle, basically pushing up a catwalk every single round, kind of nullified that idea. But it was cool to see them having those kind of ideas where they make you seem like they're doing one thing, but then see the bombs that's right after.
Let's check in with Jordan Gilbert, aka Nothing, who joins us now from the player era. Jordan, congrats. A really big win for you guys on the opening day at the Major.
Appreciate that. I can't see you this time. I feel a little cheated out of this.
Well, we can see you, so don't worry about that.
What round were you talking about, by the way? You said we didn't clear backside or something?
At the B-bomb site, there was once when you took it off a BXQ through smoke.
That was the double fake. And to our credit, they had 3.5 people there.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Just everyone as well.
Yeah, everyone swung left, and then there was another round where someone was hiding at the caution box.
There's one on A-bomb site where there's I can't remember who it was, but he was behind that get right box. That's what I call him anyway. It's direct left from when you get up from.
Is that when we got killed planning?
Yeah.
We missed a bench smoke, so there's a gap in it.
Yeah, I think Config picked up the 3 kills in that game, didn't he?
Yeah.
In that round.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean,
despite all that, we felt in control.
You felt okay about the game itself, Jordan? You think you played well enough?
Yeah. I think that's probably why we didn't take any pauses. I think we just felt in control most of the time. Like you said, they have some guys who could be monsters, but we just kind of... It didn't really overwhelm us as much as it could have, so that was good.
Did you feel like you carried on from where you've left off at ESL1? I know the final didn't go your way particularly, but the tournament itself was a good tournament for you.
Yeah. One thing we've been working on over this whole run is just like fundamentals, protocols, slow, methodical. Like, what's the right play we should be making? And then obviously that's not always what our team does. We like to kind of go the other direction sometimes, but we've been trying to bring it back and make sure those basics are covered. Yeah.
Is there I mean, Nasty mentioned it earlier on in terms of speed. Sometimes it seems almost a little too slow. Is that how you guys are you focusing on it maybe too much?
No, I think that is not a strategic problem. I think sometimes it's just like how we're spread out. I think there's one map round where we went late B and we won it with like 9 seconds. That was just kind of like so many people knew. We all had given each other info of where they were. So I think we were comfortable. We knew where the A and B guy was. We weren't sure where the rotator was, so we didn't want to flank, and if we were just kind of slowly narrowing down where they could be. And that's one of those things where maybe if like Mike or I spoke up faster, it could have changed. But overall, the team was kind of still productively like taking ground in terms of where they were and giving info.
Okay, Moses is your biggest fan, as you well know, Jordan. He sang your.
I don't know. Fairweather fan.
He sang your praises before the match.
It's gonna be like that.
He sang your praises very heavily before the match.
Cool.
He didn't really.
Wow.
Jason, I was going to get lunch.
A lot of buses being thrown.
I was going to get lunch with you this summer, Jason.
Jordan, yeah. We're still gonna do that. It'll be fun. We'll have a conversation. I promised Tim
talk to me now.
If you guys made it out of playoffs, I'd get in the crowd and with the cheerleaders.
We look forward to seeing
that. With no shirt, of course.
What was it like kind of preparing for this team? It seemed like you just seemed comfortable, like saying you're not taking any tactical pauses. Makes it seem like you're pretty comfortable and confident with the game plan you came into this with. Is that a lot of Stewie and Automatic and like Valen's? Or I know you guys have had a lot to say about your coach and the impact he's had.
Well, yeah, I mean, Valens does the math really fast, right? So we saw the vetoes. We saw that it was probably going to be Mirage or Inferno. There was a small chance it went a slightly other direction, but we'll dive into that. We were definitely more prepared on Inferno, I would say, only because we thought that's what they would be more confident on versus us. But on Mirage, we had a basic knowledge of what they did. The only time I really felt off guard personally was how they did their mid control. I knew all their cues for when they throw top mid smoke, late, early, what it means, window smoke, late, early, what it means, top connector smoke, late, early, what it means. But a couple times they kind of diverged. Is that a word?
Diverged
from that. And like the guy came up connector and just peeked me straight away before the top connector smoke because he knew I would kind of spot it. So they had definitely an awareness of how we played too. So I think at that point it was just, like I said, hitting our shots, sticking to the fundamentals, and then communication.
What's been the key for you guys to unlock Shroud these past 2 events? What's been, with some of his struggles being obviously notable, has there been a focus on getting him more involved in the game plan?
Not particularly. I think it's just like when you play this much CS and we're this focused, I think it just turns us on a little bit. I think it, gets everyone more involved, and it's Mike has always kind of had that in him. I think occasionally he maybe gets a little stale with his play, just like I do, and so I just think honestly I don't think it's anything special. I think it's Mike's always there. I think he's just having his performance.
I think something we've all noticed is just the natural flow of the way, especially on T side, how you manage to change the pace in the way you guys play now. Is that more of you guys like pre-planning things more accurately, or is that just Stewie and the team together, just developing in terms of making the right calls at the right time?
Yeah, I just think we realized, like, no one, when Stu became in-game leader, like, that was his MO, and over time, you can't just play like that, and so, Stu's someone, to his credit, he's not someone who just wants to play fast, he wants to play right, and he wants to do things right, and you take after the best. So you could watch SK for a couple minutes and you see they're not just this dynamic picking entry frag combo, they also have one of the best passive defaults in the world, if not the best. And so you see teams like that and you say, yeah, we just can't avoid not having this anymore. And yeah.
Okay.
Is that a playoff beard?
I don't know what I've been doing this summer. You've seen it. I've just been kind of combing it, treating it. Sometimes look in my mirror every morning and I just smile at it. So it's keeping it for a little bit longer. I'll probably shave before summer.
Attaboy.
Keeping it real. I like it.
Congrats, Jordan.
Thank you very much for joining us,
Good luck,
Jordan, and congrats on the first win today. Just a last quick question. How did Automatic enjoy his first game at a major?
You'll have to ask him later. Maybe we'll get him on an interview.
All right, buddy. Take care and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.
Jordan Gilbert, aka Nothing There, from Cloud9, winners today against a legendary team in the form of North. We've seen a few of those today, haven't we? Seen a few. We weren't maybe expecting too many, I think it's fair to say, of the challenger teams beating the legends teams.
Yeah, this one, I mean, we came into this one saying it was a little 50-50 with Cloud9, maybe a little bit of an advantage. I mean, there's certainly some definite scary matches that we've seen, that could crop up. And we've known for a long time that how deep this scene goes, especially at the majors. I mean, we talk all the time about how hard it is to qualify for a major now. So naturally, you're going to get teams with the potential to be able to upset some of those legends. It's just the way it's going to work.
Yep. That's good. Let's take a look at the scoreboard, as you can see on your screen right now, and just go through some of these frags. Config 29-2-20 for North. Not a match-winning performance, however, his career best at a major. The rest, however, needing to step up in that team. Cloud9 led the way by nothing with 26 kills. Had an absolute monster first half.
He was 18-5 at one point.
Yeah,
like
monster first half.
Well. Yeah,
I think that was after like 11 rounds as well.
Yeah, he had like 2 or 3 4-kill rounds I think in that first half, which is pretty nuts
for
to
sure.
think about.
Yeah, and plenty chipping in as well. Skadoodle 22, Stewie 18, Automatic 15 in his first ever major match, and Shroud with 12, which leaves the old man of the team as the MVP. I think that's well deserved, isn't it?
Yeah,
just first half performance alone, really.
Yeah. He's playing so very well right now, and it's kind of a cool idea because it's something you could kind of predict coming to a certain degree because he was a star player in 1.6 for so long and a star player in some of his early teams in CSGO, that when it happened, like when he starts taking this like step back from the aggression and starts letting Stewie and Automatic be the playmakers, he's in a great position to like really just use the his veteran, his experience at just having a massive impact for this team. I think that's a lot of what we saw today.
Yeah. He's definitely enjoying his Counter-Strike again. I think he had a period where it was a bit dark for him, but he's definitely back and enjoying it.
Everyone goes through those ebbs and flows, I think.
100%.
You probably could speak to that better than me.
Yeah, I mean, I took almost a couple of years off completely from the game, coming back, and then just feeling really refreshed about it, and just having a different approach altogether, and just had a lot more fun with the game, basically. yeah, it does apply.
That does happen, doesn't it? It happens to the best of
Especially someone like Jordan, who's been through like the major up and downs of the Counter-Strike scene over the years.
Seen it all, hasn't he?
Yep.
Seen it absolutely all. It's been incredible. Okay, thanks to our two gentlemen on the panel. We are getting ever closer towards the end of our first day. It's getting quite late here in Krakow as well, but fear not, we've still got plenty more Counter-Strike Global Offensive to come. Next up is the delightful match, because we've been looking for this one all day long.